Welcome to our White Towel Canucks panel video. The panel consists today of just two of us, Ed. I'd like to thank Key West Ford, keywestford.com, for BC's largest selection of trucks in Western Canada.
Yeah, and Patrick Johnson's on long-term injury reserve. Do we get cap relief from that?
We should, actually.
I think so, yeah. So do I get to go to the Masters then this year?
I'll tell you what, we'll send you to the first round of the playoffs for the Canucks home games. There you go. And let's talk about this and playoffs for the Canucks. Yeah. Obviously, the team looked like they were very comfortable a couple of weeks ago. Is there a reason for anyone to be nervous?
Yeah, I think so. It's actually about the last 7 games. There was 2 wins in there simply because Jacob Markstrom had these otherworldly goaltending performances. But 4 of them have been played without Best, and they had to look at that lineup and go, geez, I just don't look like the looks of that. They've been trying to add another guy in the top 6. I think there's a couple of different layers to that. Jake Virtanen's a little bump this year, but he's still not a legitimate top 6 forward in the NHL. I think if he would have stepped into that role and produced like that guy, it might have changed their thinking. But as it stands, they've really been looking for a winger for Bo Horvat for a couple of years now. They've got a guy now, and I think the last 4 years where injuries just weighed so heavily on this team, I think Jim Benning wanted to take that excuse away. I think here we're going to give you a fully functioning roster. Now it's up to you guys to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many teams in the NHL can replace a true top 3, top 6 player. I mean, it's one thing to have depth and guys who are competent, but when you run into serious injury issues and you lose a massive contributor, then it's tough to weather that. But let's go into the Tyler Toffoli trade. So, there's a segment of the Canuck fan base that wants heads on pikes if they do so much as trade away a 7th-round draft pick. Picks are as good as gold. They've given up a prospect pick here for a guy who is a legitimate player who's proven himself, won cups. Do you like the trade or not?
Qualified, yes. And when you view it against the backdrop of we're going to do everything it is to make the playoffs, it makes sense. Do I like it in isolation as a hockey trade? Probably not. But you have to at least give them credit for being consistent with their messaging, even though they haven't really come out and said it, that the playoffs are the ultimate goal this year. We're going to do whatever it takes to make the playoffs. That's what this trade. I mean, they sent the message over the summer with the Miller trade, with the free agent signings. This trade just reinforces that.
So even if there's not a long-term future for Toffoli in Vancouver because there's much talk about his contract status, where are you with the dealing of Canucks prospects? Because there is a point you can have as many nice prospects as you want, and tomorrow never comes. There comes a point where you amass those as assets and you use them for guys that will help you now. Yeah. So, I mean, again, you talk about a qualified yes. Do we think that this is it for the Canucks, or can you see them dealing out more prospects for guys who are going to help them immediately?
Yeah, I don't think there'll be a trade of this magnitude. There's a couple of prize baubles still out there. The Wayne Simmons things, there's just too much smoke there, right? He gives them grit. He probably gives them an upgrade on the 3rd line or, in their bottom 6. Kind of a playoff kind of guy. He's got size, he's got toughness. So I can see something along those lines. I don't see them making, a big plunge after the, pick a name, Jeff Petrie or, whoever else might be out there. So I that would not surprise me. It's just, it's funny because they kind of, again, they rejected the notion of the rebuild for so long, right? And then they seemed to come to embrace it a couple of years ago. And they were a draft and developmental team, and that lasted for 18 months, and now they're kind of in win now mode again. So
you can't really blame them for that, though.
No, you can't. And I just love Jim Benning's quote about this black hole they've been in for the last 4 years, and it's true. I thought that captured the mood nicely within the organization, but also in the market and among the fan base. And if this team just happens to make the playoffs, just what a jolt of energy and positivity that creates for the team and the fans.
Yeah, great stuff, Ed. We'll be recording a podcast on the subject in shortly, so you can get that. You can subscribe to our podcast at Apple Podcasts. You get it delivered to you every week. Also, once again, thanks to Key West Ford, keywestford.com, BC's largest selection of trucks. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next week.